Good morning to you. Welcome back for another word of encouragement. Thank you to everybody who follows me when I do these bite-sized words, and you always send me messages or comments about how it encouraged you. It makes it all worthwhile. And also on top of it, I encourage myself too. So I share with you what I'm meditating on. So today, let's have a look. I'm looking at John chapter 5, and it's the man who was lying at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, the lame man. 38 years in the same position, maybe on the same mat. Can you imagine that? Full of reasons why nothing changed in his life. Jesus came along. I'm not turning to John chapter 5, but you can go and read the whole story in yourself. But to me, it seems as if Jesus came along on that day. That day was the lame man's day of deliverance, the day where his whole world changed, when he least expected it, because what he said, what came out of his mouth showed me he wasn't full of faith the way we think we need to be. He was lying there full of excuses. So when Jesus came along, he wasn't the only person lying there. But to me, maybe just thinking about it, Jesus could have looked around and found the person who had been there for the longest amount of time. And he knew that everybody else would be watching him. Now, all these people who were lying around the pool of Bethesda were waiting for one day when an angel would come in and stir the waters, and the first one who would get into that pool received their healing. That seemed a bit of an unfair situation, especially for a man who had been lying there for 38 years because he was lame. How on earth could he get into that water? It was an impossible situation for this guy. No wonder he was full of reasons why he was still lying there. And Jesus appears and says to him, "What can I do for you?" He offers him something amazing. And the guys, it's basically, do you want to be healed? But the guy's focus had been on getting into that water. That was his focus, getting into that water. And the reasons he had, there's no one to help me. There's always somebody who gets in there before me, which is why I'm still lying here. And Jesus, he was so kind. He, even hearing all the reasons why I couldn't do it. I don't know if you've gone to God and said, "God, I'm not blessed. I can't get this. My kids aren't serving God, and I've got all these promises, but nothing is happening, and I don't have enough money to fulfill the promises you gave me. I don't have enough strength. I'm not educated enough." And our lives are full with all of these excuses, and God comes along and says, "I'm with you. We can do this thing together." And this is exactly what was happening with the man at the pool of Bethesda. Standing in front of him, offering him his healing, his miracle, was Jesus himself. But the guy's focus was so much on just having someone to help him to get into the water. And that one time when the angel would stir the water and Jesus was saying, "I'm here. Now, how can I help you?" And so even after hearing all the excuses, Jesus doesn't sort him out, give him a few smacks in the face and say, "You need to have more faith. You need to do this. You need to do that. This is why you're lying here." He didn't condemn him. He gave him the solution, because an instruction came and he said to him, "Pick up your mat. Pick up your mat and walk. Pick up the thing that you've been leaning on, lying on, the thing that's been holding you here for 38 years. Get your focus off getting into that water. Basically, you don't even need the water because I'm the one. I'm here." And he's saying, pick up your mat and walk. The thing that's been holding you for so long, that thing that's been keeping you in fear for so long. Jesus has an answer for all of those things if you get your eyes off that thing that's holding you back. If you get your eyes off that thing that's keeping you in fear and anxiety and stress, and you recognize that Jesus is right here saying, "Come on, I'm cheering you on. You can do this thing." But Jesus doesn't need excuses when he comes to you with a solution, an answer, and instruction. The excuses are what are going to hold you back. He needs faith. And faith is getting out of your own understanding and saying, "Okay, Jesus, you telling me to pick up my mat and walk." Faith is saying, "I know that I can't do it, but if you say I can do it, I'm at least going to give it a try." And this man who hadn't walked for 38 years, can you imagine? he suddenly wouldn't have been able to jump up and run around and hop, skip, and jump. It would have been a slow process, but if he listened to Jesus, he would have done it. And remember, everybody there who was waiting for an angel to get in the water would have been watching and thinking, who is this man who's just come and told this guy, we know this guy, he's been here for 38 years, but he's telling him to pick up his mat and walk. And he's doing it. They would have been watching every single step of the way. So I want to say to you, all the excuses that you have even stopped realizing that they are excuses about, I don't have enough money, I don't know enough, my body's too weak, the doctors have said this, the bank account says this, I can't do this, I can't do that. All those excuses that you have can be taken care of as you hear him cheering you on, saying, come on, you can do this thing. You can pick that thing up. You can take it and let go of it, take it out of here and begin to walk by faith. And as you take each step by faith, you hear him cheering you on. And then you'll hear everybody else who was around you waiting for the healing. They get encouraged as well. They say, why are we waiting for the waters to be stirred when Jesus is here? There are people around you who are watching your walk of faith, and they will be encouraged when they see you rise up in faith, stop making excuses, and begin to say, I believe in Jesus. I believe he can do it. He can do the miracle that I need him to do, and I've been waiting for so long. So what has your reason been to stay where you are, that you can't get up in faith? What is it? Because today, Jesus is telling you, you can do it. All your excuses are taken care of. What has been keeping you in a place of fear has already been dealt with. You've got to believe that. You don't have enough money, he's the provider. You don't have no purpose, Jeremiah 29:11. He has thoughts and plans for you that are good ones. Feeling sick, he's the healer. There's no excuse that is too difficult for God, but he requires your faith today, just to believe in him, to see that he's cheering you on today. He's good and he's kind and he's powerful. So be encouraged with that today.